Now it's time for some live Q&A with you guys where we answer all of your NBA questions. You can use either hashtag NBA or super chat me to get all your questions pulled up live on screen. No matter what it is, whether it's NBA related or not, we will answer all of your questions on today's show. Now, before we get into that live Q&A, I want you to shout out your favorite team, and I'm going to give some shout-outs to you. Your favorite team, and I'll give you some shout-outs as we get going in this one. So let me see it in the chat. Shout out your favorite NBA team. Whoever it is, whoever you're a fan of, I will give you some shout-outs as we get going into this one. Levante Rogers says the Chicago Bulls. Demetrius Jackson says T.O., Terrell Owens, I guess. I see Jello Smooth says the Golden State Warriors. MB says the Oklahoma City Thunder. I see Johnny Goodman says the Minnesota Timberwolves. Shelly Dahlman says the Toronto Raptors. Frosty Ghost says the Miami Heat. Jahir says the Mavs. Eddie Roldan says the New York Knicks. I see some Lakers, Warriors, Timberwolves, Pacers, Raptors, all the teams coming in on today's show. So your favorite team, go ahead and shout it out in the live chat. First question of the day, Jahir says, who do you think the Mavs can get if Tim Hardaway Jr. does not sign his player option? Interesting question, and it really opens up a lot of cap space for the Mavs because Tim Hardaway Jr. has a basically $19 million player option, and if they can have that money to play with, they're going to be able to get a high-quality free agent. Now, who do I think that's going to be? I don't really know off the top of my head. I like the idea of adding a Bogdanovich. I like the idea of adding maybe a guy like a big man like Montrezl Harrell, maybe a Christian Wood. It could be a lot of fun for the Mavs, but I just don't think they're going to have that money. I think Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to opt in, and he will, be able to save that money, and the Mavs will kind of not have that money to play with in free agency. Dustin Michaels says CP3 to the Jazz. Why? I don't understand that one. I mean, the Jazz would have to trade either Donovan Mitchell or Rudy Gobert probably to try and get CP3 or a lot of draft picks, and I don't think they want to do that. Utah has Donovan Mitchell. There's just no reason for that. Now I get it. I get CP3 in the same backcourt as Mitchell, but I don't get why the Thunder would do this. I don't think the Jazz have anything that Oklahoma City actually wants. So I'm going to say no, that's not going to happen. Derek Harris says, who would you rather have? Okay. Here's the deal. Let me get up on my soapbox here. Tyler Herro is great. In fact, I was so wrong about him during the NBA draft. During the NBA draft, I laughed at the Heat taking him so high. But Tyler Herro is not as good as the number one overall pick in the NBA draft, Zion Williamson, because he's had a good bubble run. Yes, he's had a good season. And yes, Zion Williamson's been hurt. But guys, he's never going to be the number one option on a playoff team. He's never going to be the number two option on a playoff team. He is, yes, a future all-star. I love what he's done in the bubble. I love what he does for the Heat. He's not Zion Williamson. He is nowhere close to Zion Williamson. So that should answer my question right there. Zion Williamson, 100 times out of 100 over Tyler Herro. Unless I'm looking for a three-point shot, I guess. Then I'll take Tyler Herro. All right, let's stick with the Heat here by Frosty Ghost. Frosty Ghost says, who do you think the Miami Heat should try to go after this free agency? Listen, this free agency class, very, very weak. There's nobody this year that they're going to really be all that interested in. Nobody that they really have the money to go after. So I think you wait till the next year in 2021 when guys like Giannis are available, and then you start pursuing guys. Now, if you want to go trade route, I think Victor Oladipo is a very viable option for them this offseason, but I don't think anybody in free agency is really their priority. I mean, guys, they have Tyler Herro, who's better than the number one pick in the NBA draft, so why would they need to add anybody to this team, right? So, no, I don't think they're going to sign anybody that interesting, but they might trade for somebody. Now, we get all these questions. Make sure you're using hashtag NBA to get on the show, or you can super chat to make sure you get on the show. This one, I don't know if I can say that name on air because it might get us kicked off YouTube, probably for some stupid policy, but you get it. He says, is there a chance that the Lakers get Damian Lillard? No. I did a video on it on our Lakers channel that blew up because everyone thought I was the one that was making it up. No, there are no real rumors. There's no way that can happen. What are the Lakers going to offer? Let's be real. Kyle Kuzma? No, that's not going to get it done. Danny Green? No. Rondo? No. Taylor Horton-Tucker? No. There's nothing the Lakers have that the Portland Trailblazers would even be remotely interested in, not named LeBron James or Anthony Davis. It's just not going to happen. Now, here's one thing I have to ask of you, and I'm going to dare you to, is to hit the subscribe button, because I've heard a lot of you people just won't do it. A lot of you people are watching, and I appreciate you guys watching, but a lot of you guys don't subscribe, and it's fine. but I just don't think you're going to do it. So prove me wrong if you want to and turn that red subscribe button into a gray one and go ahead and hit subscribe today. Let's go to the super chat from Moni Boy. Says, do you think the Rockets trade WB to the Knicks? I'm guessing it means RW, Russell Westbrook. I'm trying to think if there's anybody with the initials WB. Westbrook, WB, Westbrook. Okay, I got it now. To the Knicks. No, I don't think they do. I don't think anybody's going to trade for Russell Westbrook. The only team that could would be the Knicks, I think. But I just don't think it happens for both sides. I don't think the Rockets want to give up on the Russell Westbrook, James Harden experiment yet. And I also don't think the Knicks are ready to really go there and buy all in on a point guard that isn't built for the future. He's just built for right now, and the Knicks aren't really in that position. Let's go to no name, no picture. Should the Bulls draft Killian Hayes or Deni Avdija? I like Killian as a real playmaker next to Zach LaVine. So I like Killian Hayes a lot too. And I think he's a great playmaker. I think he's going to be an awesome offensive option as well. But you just drafted a point guard. You just drafted Kobe White. And yeah, Kobe White plays the 2 as well. I think you go Deni Avdija and you start LaVine in the backcourt with Kobe White and put Avdija in at the small forward position. Now, there's a chance that the Charlotte Hornets draft Deni Avdija, and he's not available for the Bulls. But if Avdija is available, I don't think there's any way they should pass up on him. But I love Killian Hayes. I just don't think I would take him when you already have a guy like Kobe White waiting in the wings. Let's go to Bromo. What if the Minnesota Timberwolves traded the first-round pick, James Johnson, Jarrett Culver, and, 2025 first-round pick for Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby? Raptors say no to this one, and here's why. Siakam, way better than anything you're going to get with the first pick in this year's draft. In 2025, assuming they get Siakam and Anunoby and Karl-Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell, that pick's not going to be worth anything. So I think the Timberwolves say yes. I think the Toronto Raptors say absolutely not. OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam are off limits in Toronto. Sports fan all day says Davis Bertans to the Lakers. The only way this actually happens, is if the I'm all over the place with my teams, is if the Los Angeles Lakers can open up cap space by trading away a guy like Danny Green. Right now, they don't have the cap space to sign a guy like Davis Bertans. He's too expensive. Now, if they can open up that cap space, yes, absolutely. He would be perfect on that team, playing the stretch 4, stretch 5 position alongside Davis. But right now, it's just not realistic. B-Ball Killer says, who should the Wolves get as a third option if they trade Culver, James Johnson, and number 1 pick? My goodness. Timberwolves fans just want to get rid of Jarrett Culver, James Johnson, and the number 1 pick. This is like the 4th straight trade idea I've seen with them available. Listen, in all honesty, that package isn't as valuable as I think some people think it is. The number 1 pick is Anthony Edwards, most likely, and there's no superstar right now. I think that could land you a guy like Drew Holiday, probably one of those secondary stars, and at that point you're asking, is it worth it? I like Bradley Beal maybe in that position, but at the same time, do I want Bradley Beal there instead of those young guys to develop with D'Lo and Karl-Anthony Towns? No, I don't. I think what I would do is hold on to Culver, hold on to the number 1 pick, and maybe trade James Johnson for something else like a wing player that's not quite a superstar. So, who should they trade? Maybe a guy like Drew Holiday. Now, if you guys have been watching the NBA playoffs, you know we've been live for a lot of the games. So, have you watched any of the NBA playoffs? If you have, what I want you to do right now is scroll down, hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't, let me know in the comment section and say, no, I haven't been watching. And at that point, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why you're not watching. You should be watching all of the NBA playoffs. So give this video a like if you have been watching. Let's go to Bromo, and I heard Sam chuckle when he pulled this one up on screen, so let's react live. Can you see Kawhi Leonard leaving to go to the Memphis Grizzlies in free agency? Everybody knows the Grizzlies are a hotspot destination for all the big-name free agents all the time. No. Listen, would Kawhi Leonard, John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr. be super fun? Yes, absolutely. But why in the world would Kawhi go from – imagine this. You go from San Antonio to Toronto to Los Angeles to Memphis. I don't think he's going to Memphis. I don't think any big-name free agent is going to Memphis anytime soon. So, no, that's just not going to happen. Let's keep talking about this idea because it's fun. I think John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr. have a bright future in Memphis, absolutely. They don't have enough to really pull up and land a guy like Kawhi Leonard. But it's fun. It's a fun idea, but Memphis should just stay where they're at, not worry about adding a guy like Kawhi that's just completely unrealistic. But we can keep talking about the Grizzlies here, as Mahavya Dorani wants me to talk about just anything to say about the Warriors or the Grizzlies. Sure. I got a few things to say. I think the Warriors will be right back in the top 4 of the Western Conference next year. I think Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, whoever they draft at 2 or whoever they trade for, is going to get them right back into the top of the Western Conference playoff picture. The Grizzlies, I think they're going to be a 7 or an 8 seed next year. I think they have the talent to do it, and yeah, the Western Conference is tough, and it's a hard fight, but this Memphis team just has so much young talent, and a guy like Jonas Valanciunas also, and even other guys like Jaren Jackson Jr., Ja Morant. Those are all solid players for Memphis, and it's going to be able to get them back into the playoff picture.